Well, this is Pat Walker at Mission Winners. We're doing a video here of recap of the MAXLIST stocks. Just going through them, taking a look at them, and seeing what can we see in the major index ETFs and the MAXLIST. Big money flows into the MAXLIST. You're going to go through and you're going to see them. You'll see what they are, and you'll know why they are where they are. First, the Qs. Let's go through here. Up. Hits new highs right here. But notice the lack of volume. Remember, people talk with their mouths and vote with their pocketbooks. They were voting, but there wasn't much power there, was there? And then it declined. And look at this. It goes up, and then it falls on heavier volume. Goes up on less volume than it fell, and then it fell on heavier volume. What does that tell you? There's a tug of war every day in the markets, and right here, it's getting a little bit weaker, but it's still above the moving averages. The trend is up. That's it there. So now let's do it with the spiders. Down on heavy volume, up on less volume, up on less volume, up on the same volume, falls on low volume, falls on a slight pickup in volume, up on less volume, falls on a slight pickup in volume, up on less volume, falls on a slight pickup in volume. Just looking at price and volume. I'm not bearish. I'm not bullish. I just get in line with what is. Also share this with you. Please don't spend a lot of time deeply analyzing the indices. What you should really be focused on is the price action, price and volume action of the leading stocks. So let's go in and look at the MAXLIST real quick, okay? Here we go. Here's Apple. Just go in and look at the chart. What's the trend, by the way? I'm going to shrink this for. What's the trend? The trend is up, okay? Don't, oh, this is it. But notice price and volume. You've got a little bit of distribution in there. You can say, well, that's a pretty good bar. I'm in agreement. What's the trend? The trend is up. Could it change here? Yes, but I don't know the future, neither do you. All I do is get in line with what is and looking and saying it's still just a hair below the rising 8 EMA. It's above the rising 20. Is this a spot to buy? Not at this point in time. Is this a spot to sell? Yeah, maybe sell a little in the strength depending on where you own it. If you bought it up here, you better be careful. If you own it down lower, well, you give it some room, okay? That makes it easier. Let's go to the next one. But again, this did fall on Friday on a pickup in volume. A slight negative. Amazon. Down on heavy volume, up on less volume, down on heavier volume on Friday, right at the 8-day on a pretty big pickup in volume. The trend is still up, but you're just cognizant. There's a great lesson here too. We bought this right here. Our cost is $24.30. We'll call it $24.36. All right. So even right here, we're still up at this price. You're still up almost 260 points on these shares. So just let it work. We'll watch this. If it keeps auguring, we'd sell it. We'll see what happens. But we've locked in good gains with it already into strength. Continue onward. Alibaba. This is loose. Rallies up. Right there. Average volume. Gaps down. Runs up and reverses down on less volume. But it shows no power. There's no strength in this. Is there anything to do with it now? No, there's really not. Don't own it. Just, it's losing it. There's nothing there. Okay, there's no pattern to buy yet. Baidu. Similar situation. It's just chopping around. It's still above the rising 8-day. It's right on the rising 8-day. And you can say, oh, this was a good bar. I want to share something with you. A lot of people just look at the bars and go, oh, it's a green bar on heavy volume. That's a good bar. One of the things that sets us apart at Mission Winners is look at the open, high, low, close. Here's where it closes on this day. The next day it gaps up, runs up, and reverses and closes near its lows for the day on a pretty big pickup in volume. That bar, it did gap up. There was tremendous buying pressure, but as the day progressed, there was selling pressure. And you can say, Pat, how can you say that? This is where it opened, and this is where it closed. It opens, it runs up, and then falls the rest of the day. So it was met with selling pressure. There you go. There's a lesson for you. Facebook. That ain't mom and dad selling right there. That's serious. That's some serious coin. And what does it tell you? Leave it alone. Leave it alone. There's nothing to do with it right now. Say maybe it's going to bounce. Well, if it does, you'll know about it. Maybe it's going to gap down and drop below the 50-day. That's the green line. Fall, reverse, and push back above it. But again, this is serious volume selling, a negative. Goldman Sachs, serious volume selling. Look at that. Look at this bar here in the volume versus this bar here in the volume. Serious selling, slight negative. Falling below the 200-day it is, losing the 50-day. Is there a setup here? Always ask yourself, will you see this chart pattern set up in any book on chart analysis that's saying, this is what you want to look for to buy? No. You don't have to overthink it. Go to the next one. Google fell below the 8-day, fell below the 20-day, fell below the 50-day on serious volume. Serious. That's a negative. Okay? Now, am I saying, oh, sell it all? No, but is there a spot here to buy it? No, not right now, so you leave it alone. Netflix fell on a pickup in volume. What's the plus about Netflix? I'm going to show you something. This is the 20-day moving average, the blue line. You ready? Below the moving averages, nothing there. Below the moving averages, nothing there. Below the moving averages, nothing there. Above the moving averages, but it's choppy. You get my point? Lost the moving averages. We go back here. Netflix. On the moving averages. On slightly heavier volume, but not extremely heavy. Perhaps this will show a bounce. But there was serious selling on Friday on fairly heavy volume. Be aware of it. Nvidia going sideways. Still above the rising 20, but it did fall on Friday on heavy volume. Square runs up and reverses and closes down, still above the rising 8-day. So that's a sign of strength. But that was some serious selling on Friday. I'm not saying that to irritate you. I'm saying it to point out the relevant information in the chart. What's the common theme? Well, it's the phrase I'm using, falling on fairly heavy volume. Falling in fairly heavy volume. See it? Tesla fell. Now, this is still above the moving averages, and it fell on less than average daily volume. That's a plus. What do we not want to happen? We don't want to see this lose this moving average. Our cost in this is 844. We've sold some into strength, all right? We're still up 100 right now. We're still up close to 120 points. We're in good shape. But are we going to get sloppy with it? No, it will tell us what to do. Twitter, you go, boy, that was ugly. It gave you warning signs before. It was losing the moving averages, okay? It was telling you, stay away. So this shouldn't be a surprise. You shouldn't have owned it. Visa, just going sideways, flopping around. Fell on a slight pickup in volume, still above the rising 50-day. MasterCard, a little bit weaker, fell on a slight pickup in volume. Right there gives you a tremendous amount of information in a short period of time on strength and weakness. Do you see a lot of strength? Not right now. Can it change? Yes, but you just have to be aware of it. Again, this is the max list. I focus on these. Big money slides in these stocks, can glide in and glide out, and you can make tremendous gains on these stocks. They're institutional darlings. Anyway, I wanted to share that with you. This is for everybody just training and coaching on the max list. Love these stocks, and I hope you're all having a good, safe, relaxing weekend.
Thank you for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit like. Maybe hit that subscribe button. We come up with new content nearly every day. Also, check out the videos on the right. YouTube recommends the one on the top, and the bottom one is something we thought you might enjoy. See you next time.